So another Seahawks season in the books. The good news is the Seahawks got their 10th win of the season, which is the first time Geno Smith was able to achieve in his entire career. But the bad news is the Seahawks missed the playoffs for the second straight season. Now, before I express my thoughts and reflect throughout this season, here's a word from our sponsor, SeatGeek. SeatGeek is a mobile ticketing app for sporting events, concerts, and other events. They make the buying experience easier by the app ranking each ticket from 0 to 10 to see if you are getting a good deal, and you can see exactly where you are sitting. I regularly use that app, and I have had nothing but a fantastic experience with SeatGeek. Use my promo code RoofTopSports to get $20 off of your first purchase. Link to the code, app, and website will be in the description, so take advantage, and thank you. And to all those that used my SeatGeek promo code, I just wanted to say thank you very much for using that throughout this entire season. And if you are planning to go to the NFL playoff games, go ahead and take advantage of that as well. Rooftop Sports for your $20 off. I know it's not much, but at least it'll give you save you $20 for some food, I guess. Well, anyways, here we go. So the Seahawks have won their 10th game of the season. They defeated the Los Angeles Rams, and funny enough, I was actually in Anaheim. I just got back today. I was going to be there. I was planning to go to the Seahawks-Rams game, but because of a few factors, the timing just wasn't there, logistics wasn't there, and there was this whole family-first kind of situation. Decided not to go. Now, if the Seahawks and Rams had something to play for, like if it was fight to the death for the playoffs, oh yeah, I would have went and I would have flown back the next morning for sure. But that's not what happened, and didn't really watch too much of the games, considering that I was mostly on the plane, and then went to church right after that. Wasn't really much for me to watch. But looks like Seahawks and Rams had a thrilling shootout. It was pretty exciting, and the Seahawks were able to finish it off. And Geno Smith, there are some achievements that he did. He got the single season passing yards for a Seahawk, and he got his completion percentage, so he did get his incentives, so congratulations to him. Even though I unfortunately don't think that he's the quarterback of the future for the Seahawks. I mean, the guy's going to be about, 36 years old, and he's got 1 year left in his contract, so there's going to be decisions to be made on what the Seahawks are going to do. But let's reflect throughout this entire season of, man, how they could have made the playoffs. Like, I'm not going to focus too much on the wins because a win was a win, but I'm going to review each of the losses. So the Lions game, it was that Monday Night Football game. I didn't really put too much on the Seahawks because that was just a really good Rams team. They still could have won that game. They probably should have, but it was like that first loss of the season, so I didn't really put too much on that. The Giants game, they should have won that game. They lost to a team that was basically tanking for the number one pick, and they had just moved on from their quarterback, Daniel Jones, and they had Drew Lock as their quarterback for the remainder of the season. So to lose to a team such as the Giants, yeah, you kind of don't deserve to make the playoffs, and you kind of don't deserve to have other teams help you out. The San Francisco 49ers at home, as much as they were having a good start, I still thought the Seahawks should have won that game. Geno Smith had some interceptions, even though not all of it was his fault. But I still think he should have figured it out. Buffalo Bills, I mean, it's the Bills. You can't really put too much on that. Los Angeles Rams, that one really hurts. You should have won that game. That was an overtime game. You had the opportunity, and you failed. Yeah, big-time failure. And then we go, and luckily they won, what was it, 1, 2, 3. They won 4 in a row. And then you lost to Green Bay, which I wasn't really surprised. But there was still moments where they maybe could have made a comeback, but then Geno Smith's injury really did not help at all. The Vikings game, you should have won that game. Absolutely. So there were several games where the Seahawks should have won, and they could have made the playoffs, or should have made the playoffs, but you gotta beat the team at least like the Giants, so you don't end up like depending on other teams to get you into the playoffs. No, not at all. But let's go over the bad. Obviously, the bad of this team was the atrocious offensive line. Like, they were easily one of the worst in football. So yeah, that will do it. That didn't give Geno Smith enough time. The running game didn't really do much at all. So, I mean, as much as I don't like Geno Smith that much, but the offensive line really didn't help either. So maybe with a mid-tier offensive line, maybe Geno Smith could have done a little bit more, but I don't know. I'm still not convinced that he's the guy for quarterback, so I don't know. But the offensive line is really bad. Not only was it critical in a bad way for the passing game, it was also pretty bad for the running game. And it is an absolute miracle that Geno Smith even got 4,000 yards and his bonuses, considering a terrible offensive line. Now the defense, they improved. They went from one of the worst defenses in the NFL to about a mid-tier defense. Against the pass, they were 7th in the league against the pass, and against the run, they were around 17 or 18, which made them 13th overall. So there is progress there. I guess that's where Mike McDonald showed how much of a defense guru that he could be. But that's not really saying much, especially when the offense was having its struggles, especially the running game. And had they had some kind of a decent running game, then maybe Geno Smith wouldn't have had to be dependent as much. I guess other good things is Jackson Smith-Njigba. He became a 1,000-yard receiver. And yep, that helped my fantasy football team as well. So it looks like he will be an exciting part of the Seahawks, especially with DK Metcalf. And also questions remain as what is Tyler Lockett going to do, as he is up there in age and he's not getting any younger, and that he has a real estate career. So there are things that he is considering for his future. Now the future. What is in need for the Seahawks for the rest of this, for the going into this offseason? Well, they're going to have to fix the offensive line, and I would definitely say fix that running game, because the running game was just hampered with injuries. Zach Charbonnet couldn't really do much, and McIntosh showed some little bit of flashes, but it really wasn't saying much at all. Didn't really help with the bad offensive line. Really did not, but I still think that they should still try to find a way to get a new running back. And then going into the season, they're going to go, it looks like they're going to be $5 to $11 million over the cap. So there's going to be a lot of questions on what's going to happen and what needs to be done. Looks like Geno Smith, he is due for $31 million. Correct me if I'm wrong. DK is at 18. Tyler Lockett is at 17. And they are going to be impending free agents. So there is going to be the question, will the Seahawks blow it up, or will they give it one more go? Because those are things to consider. Like, if DK Metcalf is going to be a free agent at 2026, then you would assume that he's going to be asking for a new contract, and maybe there could be holdouts and distractions. So I guess those are things that I am very concerned about. Like, if DK doesn't want to stay, then what are you going to do then? And all your receiving core is really going to be is Tyler Lockett, who's 33 years old, and then Jackson Smith-Njigba can only do so much, and the tight end core is maybe decent at best, where you have Noah Fant. He's going to be up there in 28 years old, so are you really still going to keep him? Like, there's a lot of decisions to be made. That's what I'm seeing. I mean, looking at down the list and trying to look at anything else that the Seahawks ought to do, but there are a lot of players that are going to be due to be free agents after the next season of 2025. So that's just things to consider. Again, like, is DK Metcalf is he going to like hold out? Is he going to ask for a new contract? Are they going to get him a new contract? And what are they going to do for changes? Because it looks like the Seahawks are going to have to looks like they may have to get creative on what they're going to do for the 2025 NFL draft and see. I mean, they're going to have to nail every single pick right. So it looks like you're going to have to depend on really good drafting. I mean, John Schneider, he's known to trade down, so maybe he trades down that 18th overall pick, which I think he should if he wants to stock up on draft picks. So that's exactly what I would do. And now I'm checking on the website and see how many draft picks do the Seahawks have. They have, here it is, they have a first round pick, a second round pick, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. So they have about 8 draft picks. But then it's a matter of, are they going to get any more draft picks? Like, would it be out of compensations? I don't really know. I'm not really much of the expert on this. I'm mostly a baseball guy, but hey, I wanted to do some Seahawks content as well. But again, those are things to consider. Like, what are they going to do with the players that they've got, especially when they're $11 million over the cap? They may have to make some difficult decisions. But if they're going to go really at it, other things that I would do is maybe look for a new offensive coordinator. I don't really trust Ryan Grubb that much. Got to fix that offensive line, because if they do the same exact thing going into next season, it's going to be the same exact result, if not worse. So fix the offensive line, fix the running game, keep improving the defense, and in case, find some insurance in case Geno Smith doesn't work out for next season, or if he wants to get out, or I don't think he wants to get out, but in case of the Seahawks, in case Geno Smith doesn't work out, like what if he gets injured, or what if he regresses? So maybe that's something to look into going into the next season. But that's going to do it. I just want to say thank you very much for watching any of my Seahawks content, including post-game shows, shorts, and even live shows that I was able to do for the Seahawks. Hopefully next year that I will be much more consistent with the Seahawks this time. But again, just want to say thank you for bearing with me throughout this entire NFL season. And cheers to 2025. And go Hawks, and Godspeed.